Talking Memphis Wrestling with Randy Hales is now streaming live on Fun Media at fun927.com and is always on Facebook, YouTube, X, Twitch, and at tv5wrestling.com.
Talking Memphis Wrestling with Randy Hales and special guests.
It is our first show of December. Can you believe it's December? Yellow again, everybody. Randy Hales in the studio of Talking Memphis Wrestling, and we have our buddy. We have the best video production guy I've ever worked with in the wrestling business. Randy West is in the house. We have a couple of Gregs. We have Thomas. We have Drew. We have a bunch of people. And we have a big show. What we're going to do on the show today is we're going to discuss the greatest wrestling territory in the history of wrestling territories, the Memphis Wrestling Territory. We have great history video, including a great thing. Everybody knows that WMC TV, big part of professional wrestling in Memphis at Channel 5. We have a history of Channel 5, a graphic and a video. Just a great show, and we will also feature some video with the great Tojo Yamamoto, as Dennis says. Time for Memphis Wrestling, you damn straight it is. Richard Hood, buddy, I am doing fine. Frank Seaton, man, it is December. And yesterday we got a little piece of December, and it started the day a little bit the same way. We got frozen rain, we got sleet, and we got cold. It is 32 degrees right now in Jonesboro, Arkansas. What is Jonesboro, Arkansas? It's where the Randy Hales story began, and we got a big one today, and we will be joined in a little bit. Our producer, Adam Dunn, will be in the house. Pat won't be here. Chris Ellis won't be here. Dr. Robinson won't be here. Michael St. John is scheduled to be here today. However, he said he would be here at 7 o'clock, and it's 7:03, and he is not here. Hey, Team Hales is PJ leading it up. He's in the house. He is watching this show. She is watching this show, as is so many members of Team Hales, and we appreciate it very much. Now, what we intend to do on this show, the best Memphis wrestling themed talk show on the face of God's green earth. We want to entertain you. We want to educate you. We want to teach you. And maybe, Dave, we might make you laugh once or twice. Grab your sweet tea from Sonic or McDonald's or from the diner or anywhere else. Do like Adam Dunn is doing off screen. Eat your food. Just enjoy yourself. I think I'll take me a dip in a few minutes. Again, as we wait, we have a super show. A fantastic show. Again, the goal of this show is to educate you and educate you big time. Want to say hello? We'll go ahead and Adam and do the first segment the way we normally will do the first segment. However, except for total first takes, but we want to bring in Adam Dunn to see how his Thanksgiving was, what he's been doing, where his travels has taken him, and a first take from the producer of this here freaking show. First take time, Adam Dunn.
Yeah, so as you know, last week I was in Memphis for Thanksgiving, back here at home in the Master Control, and got a few new things since I was on screen last time. I got my little Charlie Brown Christmas tree put up there, and Rusty sent me a Blues Doctor T-shirt, so I've got that up in the background as well. So doing good. It's back to work this week, of course, and working on lots of things. And Randy, as you mentioned, this month and this week in Memphis television, lots of history happened. 30 years ago today, this isn't necessarily about Channel 5, but 30 years ago yesterday, Friday, December 1st, 1995, Channel 13 and Channel 24 swapped affiliations in Memphis. It was ABC 24 or ABC 13 and Fox 24. That changed. Fox 13 and ABC 24. So for the very first time, Channel 24 started doing news in Memphis. Yesterday was 30 years ago that happened.
Very interesting, and we'll be talking about TV5, which it debuted in the year. Listen to this, people. WMCT TV debuted in Memphis, Tennessee on December the 11th, 1948 on Channel 4, WMC TV on Channel 4, and that lasted until it changed to Channel 5. Now, when they opened up, it was the only television station in Memphis, and the primary network was NBC, but also ABC, CBS, and Dumont Network, everybody that could be a network. There was. So we are celebrating right now a history. We have great stuff out on any final word of your first take before we get to the next first take of the show?
No, that's all I got for now. Like I said, had a good Thanksgiving and glad to be back home and glad to be back doing the show. And I'll hop off of here so we can get our next first take.
But you'll be back. I want you to come back when we do the one graphic that we have. Ladies and gentlemen, he's been gone a couple of weeks. I hate it when he's gone, but he has a real job. He has a career. He has a legacy, but he's still in Arab, Alabama, the Huntsville Alabama area, the home of fun radio, he has a legacy. He has a wrestling legacy as a Hall of Famer, a broadcasting and radio legacy as a Hall of Famer, and he is one of the originals of this show along with Pat Trammell. And you'll see a lot more, even though you're not seeing Pat today. Our goal is to have Pat and Michael on together as much as possible, trying to clean it up a little bit where we can have more content and have the great conversation. And we'll start before we get into the substance of this loaded show with history of WMC TV going back a lot larger than just wrestling. We'll have that, but we also have first take time as Thanksgiving over. It iced and snowed in Jonesboro yesterday. Want to bring in from the Alabama area my good friend Michael St. John. Welcome aboard.
I don't know how I can ever follow your intros. I mean, you make me sound like I'm superhuman, and that's the least possible thing that I can be. But thank you, Randy.
Well, I read every word you wrote to me, for heaven's sakes. What are you expecting? I exposed the gimmick there.
Oh Lord, thank you, Randy. I appreciate it. And hi, everybody. I'm like you, man. I missed you guys. It gets this time of year, and we get crazy with football playoffs. And this year, 3 out of 4 teams here in Alabama went to the playoffs, and I'm running hither and yon. And 2 of the games got moved to Thursday nights, which moves everything you do in the week a week up or a day up. So all my Wednesday interview coaches became Tuesday interview coaches. So I was on a mission the past 2 weeks, and that's why I couldn't be here. But I am certainly glad to be back, and it's certainly glad to see your face, Randy, and to talk to you. And Adam, it's great to see you on camera as well. And folks, thank y'all for being here. Appreciate it. And it's just great to be back. It's cold as you know what here. You said you had snow. I knew. I was talking to a friend of mine in Louisville today, and I was supposed to get down in the teens tonight, but they had like 4 inches of snow, and the roads were a mess.
Oh my goodness, it's that time of year for sure. Now, we talk wrestling here. That's our primary purpose. We like to entertain, we like to tell lies, we like to do a lot of stuff here on this show. We like to educate, not just about television wrestling, but television in general. We're going to have Adam come back on here, and Adam's going to be in and out in the first part of this. This is interesting to me. This will be interesting to Adam for sure. I think it'll be interesting to Michael and everybody else with the history of WMC. Adam, I want you to voice this over. I want you to show that one graphic, and I want you to explain what we're looking at that happened in 1948. This was in the Memphis Commercial Appeal or the Press Senator paper, and I want you to show that graphic and voice it over for us. Talk about it.
Yep. So it's always a interesting bit of conversation that comes up. It's what station did wrestling start on in Memphis? When did it start? And all of that. I'm going to assume, and I'll take a look here. I think this is from the Memphis Commercial Appeal because WMC stood for Memphis Commercial. That was the original scripts, wasn't it, Michael? Scripps
Yeah, that's
Howard.
correct. That's correct.
So you had WMC AM, WMC FM, and WMC TV. And like you said originally, Randy, WMCT was on Channel 4 before it was on Channel 5. And just an interesting thing that I ran across, if you take a look here, this is the programming that this would have appeared in the paper. And WMC signed on the air December 11th, 1948. And if you take a look, top center, December 13th, 1948, look at what was on at 9:30 p.m.
Wrestling?
Yes.
But I bet it wasn't live studio wrestling.
No, it was not live studio wrestling. So what you had, and we will see this in just a few minutes when we take a look at one of these WMC lookbacks. WMC was not originally at 1960 Union Avenue where it sits today. It was originally downtown in a building called the Goodwin Institute. And the Goodwin Institute was not too far away from Ellis Auditorium. And in the package that we're going to see, they will talk about that they aired wrestling live from the Ellis Auditorium on Monday night. And I believe the way that they did it was, I believe they actually physically had cables running between Ellis Auditorium and the Goodwin Institute. Joe says in the package that they did it via microwave or remote. That's possible, but I doubt that close that's what they did. I think they actually strung cables across.
Well, back in those days too, the telecommunications, the telephone company and the telephone lines were used for the audio. Yeah. And then video was produced in, like you say, different ways, via maybe just a long cable from the studio across the street into the Ellis Auditorium. But it had to be to get the function of sound and audio and TV, and to get them cohesive with each other, or working with each other. You had two different things working at the same time. So there was probably some telco involved here with the telephone company, and with, of course, the cabling, as you just mentioned.
Yes, I just think it's really neat that in 1948, the very first Monday that WMCT was on the air, they had wrestling right then and there. And of course, we know it went to 13, but then it came back to Channel 5 in 1977, maybe.
Now, Michael, I want Adam to put that graphic back up there, and I'll get your glasses on or whatever it takes. Anything stand out besides the wrestling? Does anything stand out? First of all, 1948 was a long time ago.
Before I was born.
I see at 7:40, it was Bill Dundee's favorite thing to call Dave Brown.
That was one of my favorite shows as a kid. That and Captain Kangaroo, with Howdy Doody and Captain Kangaroo. And Howdy Doody was on at 7:40. And notice the timing of the programming. They weren't in half-hour or 1-hour blocks.
Right.
They were just however long they were.
Yep. And then, so I'm trying to look and see. It looks like you had a WMCT newsreel, because, you didn't have 24-hour news, and you really didn't even have 30-minute newscasts back then.
I love the fact that it opened up with Santa Claus. First programming right after programming resumed. The first thing was Santa Claus.
And back then, they would broadcast, when they sign on, they would have, test pattern and everything else, and that was to give you a chance to get your TV tuned in.
Also at 7:15, I see Ugart Urian interviews. I wonder if that was one of the first TV news people per se at WMCT.
Could very well be.
Because right after that is the newsreel. So that would make sense, maybe.
Does this fascinate you, Michael, as much as it's fascinating me and Adam?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You guys, I know I can't turn the camera, but if right here now, Adam has been in the studio here at the house, but right up here to my left is a huge map of broadcasting, and it's dated 1948.
Oh, wow.
And cool. It has little symbols up there. It has like a little tower symbol if the city had a TV station. It has a dark black dot if it had a radio station full-time, and just a circle if it had a radio station daytime only, maybe part-time. And I'm going to look at Memphis. You're going to have to, now you got my curiosity up. I got to look at this.
Because they didn't come on the air till December 11th of 48. So if that's from 48, they may not even be on there yet.
It's live television, people.
It's on here.
Okay.
And it says that they have one TV station. So I guess that was the first, right?
Yeah. TV5 was the first television station in the state of Tennessee.
And there are 10 or more radio stations in license to Memphis, according to the ledger of that map.
If I remember correctly, Randy, when the Star Spangled Celebration in 98, that was WMC-TV's 50th anniversary. If I'm not mistaken, it was AM 790's 75th at that time. So I believe AM is 25 years older than television, if I'm not mistaken.
Hey, we interrupt this program. Give me a breaking news.
Okay, give you a breaking news graphic. You got it. Stand by. Stand by. There it
Ladies and
is.
gentlemen, this is Randy Hills with Talking Memphis Wrestling.
Cool.
Very important news to tell you that Michael St. John, our partner, our good friend in Arab, Alabama at Fun Radio, had two special guests in his studio this past Sunday, and to explain to everybody who was in the Fun Radio stations is our pal Michael St. John.
Are we showing the picture?
Don't have a picture, sorry.
I'm working on it.
All right. I was honored. Thank you for saying that, by the way. And just as you were saying, as we just conclude that segment on TV, that's extremely interesting stuff. And the reason that WMC has 3 call letters is it was one of the originating stations before they gave up on 3 call letters and it went to 4. And there are not very many stations west of the Mississippi with 3 call letters. Okay. Yes, I was very honored. Our good friend, there he is with his lovely bride. That is Bo James and his lovely wife now were gracious enough to drive all the way to Arab, Alabama on the day before Thanksgiving and visit at the radio station. It was a horrendously busy day because we were on a 3-day week that normally we take 5 days with all the radio stations. We got to get everything ready while we were preparing everything. So once Bo and his wife got there, everybody had gotten away had just left. Maybe 30 minutes later, he got to meet a couple of the folks that were on staff. Ken Williams was there. And of course, the legendary Archie Anderson was there, and they got to meet them. But this is in the control room of Fun 92.7, just after lunch on last Wednesday, the 26th, the day before Thanksgiving. And I don't think I have seen 2 happier people in my past 20 years than these 2 were. They were like giddy school children. And Bo's wife actually is from here in Huntsville and works at NASA besides being a wrestler. And just a delightful young lady. I had met her in if I recall correctly, I met her in Manchester at the Coffee County Fair earlier in the year, back in the summer, when I went up with Bo and did a little commentating for him. But these were it was so much fun. It just sort of kicked off a great Thanksgiving weekend, and to see these 2 so happy, and it's just fantastic, just fantastic. So I was very, very, very honored, very, very honored that they came by.
All right, Bo, watching tonight, we appreciate it. And now I want Adam to set up this history that I believe was played and was put together by Channel 5 for the 17th, or maybe this, I don't know the anniversary. This
65th.
The 65th anniversary of WMC, and Adam will set it up. And Michael, this is cool history, not a lot of wrestling, but some wrestling, and this is interesting as Adam Dunn sets us up.
Yeah, I just thought this was pretty neat. We were talking about a lot of stuff happened in December in Memphis television history. And Michael, before you got on, I just made mention that on Friday, December 1st, 1995 is when ABC and Fox swapped affiliations in Memphis. Channel 13 became Fox 13, and Clear Channel Communications took over Channel 24 and 30. And so that was the first time Channel 24 in Memphis had to do news, because as a Fox affiliate, they were not required to have a local news. ABC requires all their affiliates to do local news. So that was interesting. And then as we spoke, December 11th, 1948, of course, when WMCT went on the air, there's a neat little package that they put together for the 65th anniversary. And I like it because there's a couple times in it where they mention wrestling. And they even mentioned that Dick Hawley used to do some of the wrestling announcing way back then. So I thought that would be just a pretty neat little thing for us to watch. It's about I think an 8-minute or so, 9-minute package, Randy, whenever you're ready.
History, history, history. We do that on this show, as Adam done, Michael St. John, myself, and all you guys hear the history of TV5 WMC. Roll the video.
Love that sound. Our high-five camera focusing on the First Tennessee Bank. A special reason tonight. It's located on Madison Avenue and 3rd Street, former site of the elegant building called the Goodwin Institute, first home of WMC TV. That's where our television station got its start exactly 65 years ago tonight.
And we went digging into the Action News 5 video vault to celebrate WMC's anniversary with a bit of nostalgia.
This is Channel 5 in Memphis on the Mississippi. WMCT, the showplace of the South.
That snappy station identification aired in the 1960s when just about everybody had a TV. But the call letters WMCT began to glow from screens when the entire Mid-South had only an estimated 1,400 TV sets. It was 6:30 p.m. on Saturday, December 11th, 1948. Henry Slavic, first general manager, welcomed our audience.
I had to make a little speech and introduce these people. They were shaking like a leaf, of course.
For the next 4.5 hours, Tennessee's first TV station presented Jack Pennington and his Juniper Junction Varieties Gang, a game of charades between co-eds from Rhodes College and Memphis State, Slim Rhodes and his Mountaineers, a cooking demonstration, and a full-length movie, The Black Doll. The old Memphis, Arkansas bridge that now carries I-55 across the Mississippi hadn't been completed yet when WMC made its debut.
Wow.
It would be a full 5 years before another Memphis TV station would hit the air. The TV pioneers at WMC had to create all their own local programs, all live on the air. A piano player named Burl Oldswanger hosted a show each afternoon with his friends called the Old Swingers.
That's Michael St. John music right there, people.
We aired
Actually, I
more
love
cooking
that music.
demonstrations on the Homemakers program. Studio audiences cheered the Channel 5 Club with Bob Smith. Handy Theater was said to be the first all-black TV show in America. And even 65 years ago, live wrestling from Ellis Auditorium was one of the station's most popular programs. Channel 5 could do that from the start because the station had the only remote TV truck in the South. Each evening at dinner time, this image would appear, Evening Serenade, as the station's own 6-piece string ensemble played live.
And each evening, 5 times a week, 6 to 6:30, unsponsored, a string music evening serenade by which people could eat their dinner. Peacefully beautiful music. I was very proud of that show. Very costly.
Ladies and gentlemen, we at NBC want to welcome WMCT Memphis to the NBC television family.
WMC did affiliate with NBC, but in the early years, being the only station in the Mid-South, we aired programs from all the networks, NBC, ABC, CBS, and the now defunct Dumont Television Network. WMC presented news, anchored for years by Dick Hawley.
Memphis bank clearing soared to a new all-time high so far in 1954.
Dick Hawley also presented weather reports as well as commercials.
Those particular people who Kraus has been serving for the past 70 years know about Kraus Hand Finishing Service. Florida Melba. The Cigar Supreme.
We did live commercials, weather shows. I even did some wrestling matches back in the old days.
Standard Oil selected Hawley to be your SO reporter. And the news was gathered by our forerunners who shot, developed, spliced, and presented film reports on train derailments, city commission meetings, and even perhaps the only surviving sound pictures with E.H. Boss Crump, interviewed by a young Trent Wood.
And the game starts at what time?
8 o'clock.
What about tickets? Have they all sold yet?
Probably a few left.
Just a few left. What kind of a crowd are you expecting tonight? All righty, there we have it. The Yay Tech is cheering Mr. Crump here as we stand in front of his building downtown.
WMC moved to 1960 Union in 1958 and became the first Memphis station to broadcast in color. WMC was home to a memorable children's show, Looney Zoo, with Trent Wood and Tiny the Clown, played by Rhodes College professor Ray Hill.
I did the puppets too, because there was I'm a Emu and Puppy Dog and Poindexter and Rasputin and Ex-Murgatroyd Mouse.
I will get you right here.
In the 1960s, WMC was first to welcome African Americans to share views on a regular public affairs program, the 40% Speak.
We are 12% of America, 40% of Memphis, and we have something to say.
Airing that program prompted opponents of the civil rights movement to call in bomb threats to WMC on a regular basis. Yet WMC persevered broadcasting the program and covering the civil rights movement. Our camera recorded the speech now enshrined in American history. The Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. on the eve of his assassination.
And I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land.
Many adults now in their 50s and 60s recall visiting WMC to be in the audience for Magic Land. Host Dick Williams holds the Guinness Book of World Records mark for longest running magic show in American television history. August 16th, 1977, Action News 5 broke the story that stunned the world. Elvis Presley, the king of rock and roll, had died at his Graceland mansion.
Elvis Presley died here about 3:30 this afternoon.
We covered Elvis's funeral live, even as journalists the world over beat a path to our door. But WMC didn't have a door. We were relocated to a trailer in the parking lot as our station had burned in a June 1977 fire sparked by newspapers left atop radio scanners. Rebuilt, WMC was the first local station to present a broadcast live via satellite.
Live via satellite from Washington, D.C. and live from Memphis, this is a special edition of Action News 5 with Mason Granger.
I sent this report via satellite from Beijing in 1986.
Hello from Beijing, China's capital.
Action News 5 was first to give you an eye in the sky, presenting news live from our own news chopper. We've embraced the digital era as the first local station with a website, WMCTV.com, and its cousins are news and weather applications that you can access on your smartphone or iPad. Our station was first with a Facebook page and first local TV station to zoom to 100,000 likes from viewers we've grown to love for 6.5 decades now.
The television pioneers who founded WMC would be stunned by the advance of technology, and I'm sure our founders are cheering from the big control room in the sky saying, okay, Birch, wrap it up. You're way over your allotted time. It's time to turn things over to Dave and weather, and we're going to be back with Dave Brown and his weather report in just a moment. Dave Brown has one of these fives he used to wear when that was the thing to do on the local news. And I have Derek Rook's tie on as well today. This is our former farm director, TV5, vintage tie there. I don't know that there are many left in the world, but these right here, Dave.
That's true. You know, the Smithsonian's going to be calling for those things at some point.
You know, the blazer patch, we all wore matching blazers, but after the fire, we did not. And that my 5 is a replacement that I have now because my original melted in the fire.
Wow, June 1977.
Yeah, it was. It's much better now, though.
65 great years.
Yes, yeah, that's right. Very true, very true. And 65.
First of all, Adam, most valuable person on the show today. Our graphic we showed and the video, you found that out. Just fantastic, fantastic work. Just wow. I think our audience really enjoying that. Not a lot on wrestling, but this is television history. Good job, Adam.
Yeah, and it's just, you know, there's so many firsts about WMC. You know, the first station to go color, the first station in Tennessee, the first live this, the first news chopper. They did so many firsts and were so innovative. And it's just really neat to know that, you know, they put wrestling on Monday night live from Ellis. I mean, the first Monday night they were on the air. So wrestling has been a part of that station for such a long time. And I thought that they did a really good job sourcing that material and putting all that together. and even them talking about the wrestling, I thought was cool. And yeah, Randy West agrees. It was an awesome video, really well put together for them to do that, and it's just neat to see them talk about that, and just really cool. Frank says the Riverboat, Dick Holly, Jack Eaton, Dave Brown, Magic Land, all great memories. I moved to Jonesboro in 1960 and watched it all the time. I remember the DJs on FM 100 would call the address 1960 Onion Avenue.
Yep,
yeah.
yep. You know, this is an amazing thing. And as I was looking at that video and knowing the history of MCTV and knowing that they burned in 1977, and I took over Kicks 104 in 1978, just a few months after that in Nashville. And a lot of the guys that were working at MC, Ron Olson, some of the guys at MC Radio back then, Terrence McKeever was the newsman there. And I knew, and they recovered from that fire and of course rebuilt the building. But think about how much of what we just saw archive wise was in the building that got lost in the fire. So for them to put that together is truly amazing.
It really is.
So, Michael, watching that, I would assume just like me, obviously I watched it a couple of days ago as soon as Adam sent it to me. But how do you describe your feelings? Would it be safe to say when you watched that 8-minute video that you had chills?
Oh, absolutely. It's chilly here in the studio, and I've got my overshirt on before we came on the air. I got chills under my overshirt. I mean, that's incredible. That is and that is a piece of history. And I'm surprised, and I'm sure it probably is in the National Television, Radio and Television Hall of Fame, but that is a tremendous piece. And that was for their 65th. Did they do something like that for their 50 or for their 75th?
I don't know. I haven't looked to see, because that would have just happened for their 75th. So I don't know. I would have to look and see. They've changed ownership since then, so who knows? That's kind of one of those things that sadly gets lost over time. That's why I particularly pulled that one, because I thought it was really good that they did.
Hey, let me throw this in, because it was talking about WMC Radio and our radio expert Michael St. John with us. Apparently, WMC Radio debuted, Michael, is this correct? My notes or Wikipedia says 1923.
Right. They were the first station. They were the first station in Tennessee, by my recollection. And the first station was in Memphis. And of course, WSM came on the air right about the same time. One of them may be a little older than the other. There was also one over in East Tennessee, and I want to say it was in Knoxville, and it wasn't WIVK. It may have been WBIR. Radio all sort of came together in the early 20s, because you got to realize that from the end of World War I up until the Depression, that was the roaring 20s. And not only was it roaring financially and with great feeling, but it was roaring in things like radio, and everything got invented, sort of became public. And so, yeah, you're absolutely right. And WMC has a tremendous radio history, not only with WMC AM 790, but also FM 100, which is the only 200,000 watt FM radio station left in America. Because when the FCC FM got started in like 57, 58, and the FCC said, it's just like they treated it like they treated the internet. I don't go, it's just a fad, whatever. Right. So somebody over there built a $250,000 or 250,000 watt transmitter and put one bay antenna on top of the what was the Union Planners building downtown, and boom, you have this tremendous signal. Well, when the FCC started regulating what was happening on the FM band, they allowed certain stations to stay at their power. They made FM 100 go from 250,000 watts to 200,000 watts, but grandfathered them in. So that is a tremendous, tremendous signal coming out of Memphis.
And you wouldn't believe, Michael, I don't know if you're aware, FM 100 here just recently changed formats. It's not even FM 100 anymore.
I did not know that.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I believe now it's a country station, but it is no longer
really?
FM 100. Yep. It's changed, and Rock 103 in Memphis is no longer Rock 103. It moved over to Rock 102 on a transmitter that's over in Arkansas somewhere, that's much less powerful than what it used to be. So unfortunately, those things change around. Because, like I said, it was Scripps Howard Broadcasting. You know, Scripps owned WMC AM, FM, and TV for, gosh, probably almost 50, 60 years.
Right. I think Clear Channel ended up with it. I think they're a Clear Channel station, if I'm not mistaken. I may be wrong, but I think that are.
Or whatever they are now, iHeart or whatever.
iHeart. Well, that's Clear. I call it Clear Channel because when I was involved, that's who it was. But then you have Dr. Flynn over there, who is a very prominent radio person now that has a ton of stations in that area, and quite a nice guy too. And
big wrestling fan.
Yes.
Dr. George Flynn. He WHBQ FM is one of his stations now.
Right. A guy that worked for me, Crash Davis, was his operations manager. He's over in Georgia now, but he was with Dr. Flynn for a long time, and he's done a great. And you're right, Randy. He's a great wrestling fan. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, he used to come to some of the matches in Memphis, and a great radio guy. And I'm glad I got a chance to mention him because he's a really good guy.
All right, I want to say hello to Tracy Vinson from Jonesboro, Arkansas, overnight night driver, lives here in Jonesboro. Tracy, Sir Scratch Off on the radio sports call in on the front row with Bud Rowe. He calls in there, and this education stuff is just fantastic stuff. Again, that's part of the entertainment and the education, and we're going to talk some wrestling stuff. We're going to go to a video, but first I want to give you some information. A guy by the name of Harold was born on January the 6th, 1927. He passed away on February the 19th, 1992 at age 65 years old. He was born in Hawaii. He passed away in Hermitage, Tennessee. He made his pro wrestling debut in 1953. He retired in 1991, severe diabetes and kidney issues. He passed away in 1992 of a self-inflicted gun shot to the head. His father was Japanese. His mother was American. Michael St. John, I think you can guess who in the world we're talking about.
I miss him every day, and that's Tojo Yamamoto.
And people don't really know his personality. Played this before. We're going to play it now. It's a minute 57 video that Tojo Yamamoto on the Jerry Lawler Show talks about a heated rib that Jackie Fargo played on Tojo Yamamoto and Jerry Jarrett. This is Tojo's personality from the Jerry Lawler Show. Jerry Lawler Show on July 1980.
Remember the time when we were wrestling in Jonesboro, Arkansas, and Jackie Fargo was on the card, and this is something I don't know if a lot of people realize, but we'd try to have a little fun in the dressing room every
Yeah,
now.
there's no good Jackie Fargo. One time I go to the ring, and when I come back, I don't know what. I can't say the word, but when I wear my clothes, I jump up and down, everything. I thought somebody, Jackie Fargo put some hot pepper or something, and I drove from Jonesboro to Nashville, Tennessee, jumping up and down like that in my car. So after that, I find out, Jackie Fargo make me so mad, and I you the instigator.
Okay, what happened? Jackie Fargo went out to wrestle, and you and Jerry Jarrett took some of this. When you have an injury, they have this atomic bomb that you put on a bruise or something, and you guys put that all in Jackie's, in his underwear and things like that. You did.
Not me, Laura, not me. I know because it's tough for Jackie Fargo because he go in the ring. I see him doing all these things. I said, what's the matter, Jackie Fargo? He said, told you, I think you and Jerry Jarrett put something in my tights. I told Mr. Fargo, no, it was Jerry Jarrett.
But anyway, when you guys went to the ring, he doctored up your clothes, and you guys had to
he doctored real good because from Jonesboro to Nashville, everything burned. I stopped maybe 50 times to cool off.
Now, you have been around Tojo many, many times. I've been around Tojo many, many times, thousands of miles in the car. Do you think the typical wrestling fan knows that personality?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. He was one of the most gracious individuals, a heart as big as the sky. He was a mentor and a teacher to so many wrestlers that I don't think people ever would realize. People like Ricky Morton, people like Hillbilly Jim. Probably his biggest success story of the modern era was Hillbilly Jim. And he would take, when you got with Tojo in the locker room, yeah, there were shenanigans and fun and pranks and laughing and talking. But when it got down to business, Tojo was all business, 100%. And if you did something wrong, or if he saw something in you that he liked, he would bring that best character that trait out in you, whether it be a move in the ring, whether it be on the microphone. He had a way of bringing that out of people, which made him a tremendous mentor and a tremendous teacher. And I don't think there was a sadder day in my life, including the loss of my parents, when I heard and got the news that Tojo had died. And I felt so horribly bad. I had just moved to St. Louis to run Hot 97. I'd been there about 3 weeks. I had had a conversation with Tojo before I left Nashville and on the phone, and he had heard that I was leaving and taking a radio job in St. Louis, and he called me. And he was very depressed, very down on it. And he was having to go to kidney dialysis 3 times a week. And he didn't like doctors. He didn't like being sick. He was not of that nature. And ESPN is calling, I'm sorry. But he was one of these individuals that when you got to know the person, you had so much respect and love for that person that he became a part of your world, no matter what your world was. And in most times it had something to do with wrestling. But that was the person that Tojo was. And the day that I got that call in my office, my secretary came in and said, your wife's on the phone. She says it's important. And I was like, and of course, with 2 kids, and they were living in Nashville, and I picked up the phone and she's crying. Well, right away you think, oh my God, something's happened to the kids. And when she told me it was Tojo, it was just like something happening to the kids.
Just a terrible situation. And yes, Richard, Tojo did train Tommy Rich, helped so many guys, including Jerry Jarrett and Richard. Michael is asking how you are doing. And on this Thanksgiving past, we're headed for Christmas. How's Michael St. John doing? Richard wants to know.
Thank you, Richard. I'm doing great. And I don't know. I'm banned. I've been banned off of Twitter for 6 days now. I was put in Twitter prison for a remark I made about that murder of the National Guardsman in Washington. But anyway, we had a wonderful, wonderful event on Thanksgiving. We had 16 people at the house, and before we ate, we went outside at dusk, and we're each given a cannon, one of the confetti cannons. And we had a gender reveal about our second grandchild that will be here, God willing, in May. And I'm choking up because of my wife. It's going to be a girl. And Melanie she's over the moon. She is trying to hold her emotions back, but she's already bought 2 things for this baby. And Joshua was upstairs playing Xbox. He promised he'd come down and say hello, but he hasn't been down yet. But he's getting a little sister. He was not happy when the gender reveal. He shot the confetti cannon with me. He wanted a little brother. He was just all about having a little brother, and now he's getting a little sister. So we've had to do a little repositioning, and I think he sort of gets it, in the fact that he's going to be a big brother of a sister that's going to be almost 7 years to his junior. I think he'll accept it. But I'm telling you, I'm doing. God is so good. I not to get on a religious kick, folks, but please forgive me. The Lord has been so good to me. I had 4 years ago, I almost left this place, and for good, and ever since then, I can't be thankful enough. And part of it is the thankfulness of being with Randy Hales and being with Adam Dunn and with Pat and all the crew every Tuesday night. You guys don't know how much I look forward to this. I'm hoping you guys do, but
Absolutely, for
love this
sure,
show.
Michael. We're going to move right along on the show. So far,
Thanks,
we're
Richard.
47 minutes into this sucker. Have we ever had a hotter start in 47 minutes for Talking Memphis Wrestling to the date, Michael? I don't think we have.
Well, it's up there, I'm telling you. And, I guess it's about time we showed a wrestling match or something, because we're on par with the WWE now. They're a wrestling show that doesn't wrestle for 50 minutes into the show.
The title of this show is Talking Memphis Wrestling. We're just talking other stuff today. 49:56. It's the no, I told you wrong. No, I'll go ahead with this first one, and then we'll go from there with this. This is Pistol Pez Watley. Your memories real quick, Michael, of Pistol Pez.
He was a hot shot. I mean, this guy could go. He was quick. He gave a hell of a drop kick. He was one of the first wrestlers I ever saw come off the top rope. This guy could go. If I'm not mistaken, he was from Chattanooga, was he not?
From Chattanooga, Tennessee. Absolutely, Pistol Pez. Next image there, Mr. Dunn. This is the Gilbert family. The great Tommy Gilbert. More on Tommy Gilbert in a little bit. TNT, Tommy and Tommy Gilbert Jr. is how Eddie Gilbert debuted, and there is them in their hats, and Doug, Eddie, and Tommy in that picture right there. Again, we'll get back to Tommy in a minute. Next graphic. You handle this one, Michael.
Grady Reeves, live studio wrestling from the studios of WHNT Channel 19 in Huntsville, Alabama, atop Montesano Mountain. George Goulas selling his shoulder, and Bobby Eaton, of course, a Huntsville native. Goulas, NWA Professional Wrestling. Grady Reeves was a morning show host, very much like a Harry Thornton in this market in Chattanooga. Harry Thornton, Grady Reeves was the Harry Thornton to Huntsville. His son, Robert, is a good friend of mine. We have him on our Christmas show on Fun Radio each and every year. He'll be back in with us, and just a great, and a chip off the old block. Grady, the only thing I ever heard about Grady Reeves that was negative is Nick Goulas used to cuss and say, he always tries to argue back with the wrestlers. Like, he's supposed to just talk to him. He ain't supposed to argue with him. But other than that, Grady was a great character. And I have a little family history. My mother, who worked at the jewel shop on Washington Street in Huntsville, sold Grady Reeves not one, not two, but 3 wedding bands for his 3 wives.
He was a character. Adam, next deal, and I'll give you the setup of this next thing. This is in 1972, because the first sellout in 72 was the first sellout ever at the Mid-South Coliseum was in 1972. Hair versus Hair, Al Green and Jackie Fargo. Jackie Fargo returned, and for the first month or so, he wore a mask. This is a picture of Jackie Fargo and Eddie Marlin at the Mid-South Coliseum in Memphis, Tennessee. Your reaction to this picture, Michael, and do you remember this era, or was this before Michael St. John connection with wrestling?
Absolutely do remember this era, because the whole situation, they ran this program throughout the territory in Nashville and Birmingham and Chattanooga, as well as Memphis. And that's a very bloodied Eddie Marlin when he was teaming with Fargo. It's ironic that you can instantly know who's under the mask, because you can look at Fargo's tattoos above his chest, and you see the little screaming eagle above each chest, and that was a signature of Jackie Fargo.
Can I just mention real quick, look how high the ring is off the ground. It's like it's up on blocks or something. You see that?
It is on a block. You're right.
That's interesting. And where was this at, Randy? Was this, you said it was in Nashville?
I'm not positive. It might be. I don't know. Michael, do you know?
I'm trying to think. That may be Chattanooga. Well, that may be Birmingham. I'm trying to look at the police officers' uniforms.
Right.
I'm thinking that may be Birmingham, believe it or not.
And would that be a ring that stayed with the building, or do you think
Yes, that ring was at Boutwell, and they'd only took it off. They took it down only on when they had like concerts or events coming up that were within the auditorium, but they didn't have a lot of shows coming through Birmingham back in those days. So
it would just stay up otherwise.
Exactly. So once it was up, it was up, and I'm almost sure that's a Birmingham ring.
Because I mean, it looks like it's probably a good 4 foot of clearance from the floor to the base of the ring.
About the 4 foot. Yeah, because Eddie's standing away from I would say 4 foot. I would say it's a 48 inch.
If Eddie was to go to it, his shoulder would be about even with the bottom rope.
I agree. No, I think you're right.
Let's go ahead with the next picture, please. And if we can show that right now, image about this. And Jim Cornette in the early 90s started a wrestling territory in Ron Fuller's old Southeastern Championship Wrestling in Knoxville, and he started a very interesting promotion called Smoky Mountain Wrestling. It was Thanksgiving week, I believe, in 1995, when Cornette's dream of having a territory, and they had great shows. It just was so hard, so tough with TV expenses, that sort of thing. By the way, back to talking about the picture of the ring. Bo says the Memphis ring in the early 70s was on those blocks. I had several pictures of that in that time, so obviously it could be several areas, different places in the territory that would have rings like that. And again, you see Bo James, who we appreciate his comment today on talking Memphis wrestling. Back to the story on Smoky Mountain Wrestling. Your first reaction to hearing in the early 90s that Jim Cornette had left WCW. He had opened up his own promotion, and just maybe 4 years later, in 1995, it went away. It was just tough to have a territory. Your thoughts on that period of time? And I thought Smoky Mountain was a very good promotion. Very good promotion.
I agree, and for them to go default is this is a sad article. I have some breaking news here, if you don't mind, Randy, if I may.
Let's lose that image, please.
I'm going to put something here on camera. I don't know if you can see what this is, but I'm showing you. See that that's not a kidney stone down there, but look who's behind me. Come here for a second, big guy. No. Come here, Joshua. You're on TV. Yeah, he's going through this no phase. Come here, buddy. Say hello to Randy.
Hi, Randy. Joshua.
Come on, get over.
What's going on, buddy?
Get up. They can't see you. Come on. Nope. Come on. They can't see your hand. Get up here. They like to see you on TV. Get up here on TV.
We need to see your face. We need to see what you look at. We want to see you there,
okay.
Joshua.
Here's the reason he's not wanting to jump up here. Jump up here. The reason he's not wanting to do this is he's biting on a piece of cotton because he just lost his tooth. So now he's lost both of his front teeth. So that's what this is all about. Okay. Okay. Well, thank you.
Are you stopping?
Now, are you going to put that for the tooth fairy? Okay. All right.
I'm going now.
You're going now?
He's going now. Ladies and gentlemen, Joshua.
I think he's a little wired from losing that tooth. Sorry about that, folks. But anyway.
Expect the unexpected on a Rainy Hills Produced show.
Live wrestling talk.
I did want to point something out, and you think about the size of a crowd that is drawn today by an independent promotion. If you look here, it says Wrestling Circuit is pinned. You look up here on the top right, kind of just a few sentences down. A show here, November 25th, drew just 550 people. And so the fact that that is a disappointing amount for a independent show to draw, just interesting little bit of reading there, that 550 people was a disappointing amount. Randy, as I'm sure you can attest, there was times that the Coliseum drew that number of people.
Oh yeah, it was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. So I certainly it was just a couple of years after that, Michael, that the USWA went away, but that was more because the company was sold and the people that bought it didn't know what to do with it. Certainly, but things got pretty tough back in those days, and I felt sorry for Jimmy.
I did too. And you looked at, there was a quote in that article towards the end from Jerry Jarrett, who was quoted from USWA. What's ironic about this article is it is an Associated Press. It was actually put on the Associated Press for the entire country. And this article, which is bylined out of Johnson City, Tennessee, was picked up by the Town Talk, which is a weekly newspaper in Alexandria, Louisiana. And I guess the fact that Cornette was with Bill Watson, those guys in that territory for so long, was of interest to wrestling fans who knew Cornette. So therefore, this article, despite the fact it was a different wrestling company, had a tie back, if you would, to Alexandria, Louisiana.
That's very interesting, Michael, that you point that out. Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, not only that, but you see where Johnson City, Tennessee, this was an AP story. So this was a news wire.
Exactly. This got put on the national wire, so anybody could pick it up.
Michael, can you read Jerry Jarrett's quote in this article, please?
Yes, sir. It says, Cornette did not return several telephone calls. Oh, really? Could have fooled me. His friends say he took the shutdown of Smoky Mountain Wrestling hard. It still appears that he still appears as a character in the WWF. I think it's a tragic blow for the industry, said Jerry Jarrett, who runs United States Wrestling Association out of Memphis and Nashville. The USWA is one of just a handful of regional promotions left. Cornette was a very bright and very creative person. The business is dying and at a rapid rate, quote unquote. The spectacle of professional wrestling will continue, Jarrett said, noting that it had been around since ancient times. It's the theater and the drama of the masses. It'll survive despite everybody's best effort to kill it, unquote.
Very good article, Michael, and sad.
Sad, but again, a very, very good article. And that was in 94, so that was
95.
95, so that was 30 years ago. 30 years ago.
Absolutely, and Davis for mayor says Smoky Mountain would have been fine in the early 80s and prior. The business changed so much and it was kind of dry in the mid 90s, and you're completely right on that. As we kind of rush through the end of the pictures, 4934, our next picture is the great Rick Gibson, underrated because his prime was before the national TV. He was born on November the 19th, 1952. He passed away September 15th, 2006. Real quick thoughts on the great Ricky Gibson.
Tremendous worker. Just a tremendous worker. Could do any and everything. Reminded me a lot of, actually, Tommy Rich reminded me a lot of Ricky Gibson because they were that, and Bobby Eaton too. You can throw a mixture of Tommy and Bobby together, and that was Ricky. I would hope that would be a good analogy, but a very, very talented man. And again, somebody who got hurt very badly in a career-ending injury in a car wreck. And was he on the way to a match? I don't think I think he had a car wreck, but it wasn't involved in going to or from a show. Is that correct?
I think so as well. Just certainly very sad situation, but Rick Gibson was a great wrestler. The next picture, we'll go through the next two real quick. This is autograph from 1976. Whoa! What it is, the bicentennial baby, Big Bad John. The next picture is, of course, 4931. They called him, no, we're going there with a picture of a great money drawing feud that Michael St. John is familiar with, and he'll talk about in Nashville and Chattanooga and Birmingham. Dutch Mantel and Randy Savage. Here's Michael.
Boy, you talk about making money and making people come to see. They weren't coming to see a wrestling match when they were coming to see these two in the main event for all those weeks in the territory. They were coming to see a brawl and a fight, and that's what they got. These two guys could mix it up. They could work like nobody's business. They could talk like nobody's business. But and Randy Savage at this point, I don't think had started his macho man. He had developed the character, but not verbally this much. Oh yeah, But I know Dutch. Dutch was a profound. He could cut a great promo and still can. I mean, I've seen some of his work on the podcast, and he does a great job. But I think this was one of the truly most underrated feuds, if you would, in all of the Memphis, Nashville territory back in the day.
Great picture of Dutch and Randy Savage. We look now at Jerry Jarrett. And back in the day, the babyface wrestlers made a lot of money off their 8x10 pictures that sold for 50 cents. That's a young one of Jerry Jarrett. On a sad note, the very last picture that we're going to show today, it happened on November 26th, Thanksgiving Day of the year 2015. 10 years ago, we lost the great Tommy Gilbert. Our thoughts and prayers to Doug, who lost his mother about a year ago, his father 10 years ago, and his brother, Hot Stuff, Eddie Gilbert, passed away, I believe, in February of 95. Quick thoughts about a hell of a wrestler, Tommy Gilbert. Michael.
Scrappy. Just somebody that, just tough as nails, scrappy in the ring, could sell like all get out. His kids, to say that Tommy and Tommy was a great wrestler is definitely the case. But I would dare say that both Eddie and Doug even surpassed the greatness that Daddy created, and Doug was just. I talked to Doug back in July with Bo at Bo's show, and just even to this day, you can still go. Great family, great family.
Talking Memphis wrestling, back to Tojo time, back to video time, and I want to say this right now. 1975 was a big year because in the year 1975, a dynamic team came into Memphis that one half of this tag team became one of the icons of Memphis wrestling. In 1975, George Barnes and Bill Dundee came in, and they were after the Southern Tag Team Championships held by Tojo Yamamoto and Eddie Marlin. This is a 9-minute, 54-second video done at the Louisville Gardens, and I think your buddy, and you can correct me once you hear the audio, I think John Randolph was the announcer here, and you can confirm or deny. This is Barnes and Dundee, Eddie Marlin and Tojo, Southern Tag Team Championship in Louisville, Kentucky, 954.
It appears that Barnes may have got something out of his trunks. It appears that way. Tojo is yelling something at the referee. Yes, he does. I believe Barnes has some sort of an object. Yes, he does. Look at that. George Barnes.
If you remember, Randy, this is from the film that Randy West gave me that I had converted.
Sort of object.
All right. Yes. Thanks to Randy for that, and thank you for converting that. March 11, 95. Is this Johnny Randolph?
Absolutely, Johnny Randolph. Johnny Randolph. Fun loving wacky.
Back out now on the referee's orders. Whatever that looks like a chain from here. It has put a gash in Eddie Marlin's forehead. That has widened the gash right there. Now they're going to work on that head. Bill Dundee working on the head right now. George Barnes got him in the ring. This could affect the outcome of the match.
Yeah, this video previously existed on YouTube. That's actually where I lifted the audio from. Video quality, of course, was not that great. This is literally, I have it hanging on the wall in my living room. This is the actual film that this was shot on by Mike Shields. Randy West had it. And there's that and a couple other ones that he gave us that we had converted. So that's why quality is so much better than what was originally on YouTube before. This is actually pulled from the actual film.
Both wrestlers.
Michael, as Barnes and Dundee, did you ever get a chance to see this team live?
Yeah, I did. And I saw him right before George Barnes went back to Australia, I guess it was, and Bill stayed. But, you know, when you look at this, is just so classic Australian rules wrestling, tag team wrestling. It's incredible.
How about my man Eddie Marlin?
He can go.
The referee is hurt now. This has turned into a free-for-all. Look at the melee in that ring. The referee is hurt. Tojo Yamamoto.
I'm trying to figure out who the referee is.
I am not sure.
Marlon Barnes in the ring. Look at that. Okay, Barnes.
Sunset flip.
The referee is out of commission.
I'll have to pull it back up again. I think I credit the referee at the beginning of the video.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I'll see if I can't find that information real quick.
But the referee was out of commission. Now Tojo Yamamoto has split open the head of Bill Dundee. Look at that. Tojo Yamamoto split open the head of Dundee. Eddie Marlin with a body slam from George Barnes in his championship match. Look at this blood all over that ring. Now Marlin pins him again. Eddie Marlin has him pinned again. Tojo trying to get the referee around. Look at this, man. Look. What is this? Uh-oh, what was that? Bill Dundee opened up something and poured it right into the eyes of Eddie Marlin. I don't know what it was. It looked like it may have been salt. I don't know.
Now that's Eddie's finishing hold Barnes used against him after the stuff in the eye. That's referee David Ferguson.
David Ferguson, I was just going to tell you. Yeah,
David Ferguson. All right.
All over. The championship has been maintained by George Barnes and Bill Dundee. Bill Dundee and George Barnes have retained their championship belts.
I said, I think the original YouTube video ends right around after this, but then on the film I was able to upload.
Yamamoto. But all I can see was that it was
Dundee and Barnes' interaction with the crowd, and you see just how fired up the crowd is.
They were a great team, no doubt about it. Louisville was a great wrestling city, Michael.
Absolutely. Boy, they're working on Tojo. This is a great afterbirth. This is very seldom did you see Tojo get juice. And in fact, I don't think he got it himself. I think Barnes juiced him.
There's so much bliss he is. There is so much blood in that ring. It's hard to tell where it's coming from. Bill Dundee is cut. Tojo
John Randolph doing a great job with the commentary.
Yeah, absolutely. Johnny was a great guy, great mentor to me, especially in the radio business. We used to talk wrestling all the time, but we were pupil and teacher as far as radio goes.
Eddie Marlin is back in here now. And a referee is back in here now. Look at that.
This tells you the Memphis style brawls was happening in 1975. Look at Eddie's forearm smash. And Adani Brock taking place in Louisville, Michael.
Absolutely. I love Tojo, boy.
Oh my gosh. Bill Dundee was flipped right over that top rope and head first right out of the ring. Somebody else just went out of the ring. Apparently it was George Barnes. The policemen are all gathered around. Bill Dundee went right over the top rope. He's gone berserk. Look at that. He is gone berserk. I don't know if you can see it on your screen or not, but Bill Dundee is down there has gone berserk. He went out of that ring head first. What he landed on, I don't know, but he is berserk. He would look at that. Now they're beating up the referee. George Barnes beating up the referee outside of the ring. The fight is going outside of the ring.
Boy, look at that crowd.
Outside of the ring. They're beating up the referee. It's hard to see from here. I know you can't see there because all the fans on their seats. But from my vantage point, that referee is really getting worked over now by George Barnes. Tojo Yamamoto is down there. Very difficult to see, but the fight is continuing right
passion
into the crowd.
that
There
he
you see
had
the
following
wrestlers coming
this.
out right now. George Barnes, Bill
I see the
Dundee,
kid in the background giving him the finger.
have won the match. They won the match. George Barnes went after some of the crowd right there. The referee is asking him, did they pour something into the eyes of Eddie Marlin? They said no. What a match this has been. George Barnes and Bill Dundee retaining the NWA Championship belts.
So the audio from the original clip drops right there. So this was, all this right here was previously unseen footage. And of course, it's just neat. You see the camera spins around and you see them there.
Thanks again to Randy West and then Adam for converting that. A lot of heat, Michael, on Barnes and Dundee.
Absolutely, and you leave the crowd wanting more. Look at them, the main event, they're still there. And they're up on the stage of Memorial Hall in Louisville, which is now Louisville Gardens. I think they've already changed the name to something else. But boy, look how passionate those fans
they're about ready to crawl over the wall.
Yeah, absolutely. Look at them.
And I think Eddie and Tojo are making their way back to the stage again. This is 1975 in Louisville, Kentucky.
Yep, there's Eddie.
Tojo coming another way.
Not the way Eddie went.
No. Tojo went the easy way. And
Look at that. And there's the heel taking the powder. Look at there. Running off.
Yep.
It. What's the heel supposed to be at heart? Supposed to be chicken shit.
Absolutely.
I want to make a point here, and I believe this was the case, as far as I know, to my knowledge, it is. Look at Tojo. That's typical Tojo. Louisville was the only wrestling arena at that time that Nick and Jerry ran that served beer.
Yes.
And made for a rowdier crowd.
Absolutely. And this is about 15 minutes after some of the crowd, just habit. As soon as the match is over, the crowd leaves. And this is the 10 minutes worth of brawl they missed by leaving early. It was a big crowd at the Louisville Garden. Barnes and Dundee hot as they can be, as you see that aftermath. And one thing, Michael, I feel we rush stuff. They didn't rush this. They took their time.
Let it manifest. Let it build. Let it grow. That's what grows the emotion in the fans. I think you're 100% right, Randy. And I think we've lost that in wrestling.
This is December the 2nd, 2025, Talking Memphis Wrestling, as we watch a great film of great action. Again, thanks for Randy for keeping that and donating it to Talking Memphis Wrestling. We appreciate it very much. Also, I want to go to a slide image. This is slide number 4961. 4961. We want to talk about Gilberto Melendez, December the 2nd, 1933. He passed away June the 15th, 2016, at age 62 years old. Quick thoughts on this man, Michael, Gypsy Joe.
I think his age I think you got his age wrong, Randy. I'm just FYI. I thought Gypsy Joe was like 82 when he died.
Oh, I thought that's what it says. I thought I said 82.
No, you said 62. I'm
82.
like, this was the toughest son of a guns that I have ever been around. And I'm not talking about from a wrestling standpoint. I'm talking about from a man standpoint. This was one tough son of a gun. And he wrestled in seven decades. I remember him saying that. And Gypsy Joe, as I knew him, he was also Corsica Gene and the Corsicans with Corsica Joe back in the day. And this was one tough hombre, period.
No
and
doubt.
I think, and I think he was Puerto Rican by birth, correct?
I think so.
Tough guy, Gypsy Joe.
Yeah, no doubt about it. One quick picture, real quick. This happened in 2013. I was doing a gig in the winter for 10A Wrestling. Jeff Jarrett is a local event, and I was in East Tennessee for some events, and Bo James took me to Shawsville, Virginia, in the Boogie Woogie Wrestling Camp. What a classic picture in 2013. My hair wasn't near as gray as it is now. Me and the Boogeyman, Michael, we both saw at the 2024 Memphis Wrestling Hall of Fame, but that's a great picture of me and Boogie, and what a wonderful camp he has in Shawsville, Virginia.
You know, we were talking about, I mentioned earlier how Tojo was so acclimated to where you picked up his personality, knowing him back behind the scenes and backstage and all that kind of stuff, and got to know him. And I would say the same for Handsome Jimmy. Handsome Jimmy was, he could cut a promo that would make people pull their money out of their wallet right then and there and buy a ticket. I mean, he was just incredible on doing that. And then he could work. He did all the boogie woogie. You know, I saw a film on YouTube, a tape not too long ago, a few weeks ago, of him and Luscious Johnny in New York back when they were working for Vince Sr. And Jimmy was the faw and the guy that was always selling, and then Luscious Johnny was the brute. And what a great character, what a great person. Yeah, Handsome Jimmy, what a great person.
Talking Memphis Wrestling, this is December the 2nd. Made a editorial decision today. Sometimes I think we throw so much at our audience, and sometimes things get lost in a shuffle. We've done so much today, and it's been a fantastic show. I'm going to hold up on the cards of the week and hold these very interesting cards for next week, because I have two more Tojo videos, and certainly I want to do Tojo justice. We want to go back to the 70s. This is Tojo Yamamoto against Jerry Lawler. This is 3 minutes 28 seconds. The first of two more videos we have of Tojo Yamamoto, a big six-man coming up after this. But Tojo and Jerry Lawler in a single match on Talking Memphis Wrestling 3/28.
Sam Bass has been guilty of almost constant interference in this match. Jerry
Audio
Lawler
by
seems to
Harry
have the tide
Thornton.
of battle running in his direction. Look at Sam, he's handing him a belt.
So this was Chattanooga, right?
A leather belt. That's his
Yes,
waist
sir.
belt that he has handed to Jerry Lawler, and Lawler has it around Tojo Yamamoto's neck, choking him with the belt, just as though he had him in a noose, tightening the belt on him now. That is the belt from the pants of Sam Bass. He has slipped it to Jerry Lawler, and Lawler has tightened it around the neck of the helpless Tojo Yamamoto. There you see Lawler yanking Tojo around the ring, the end of the leather belt protruding from Lawler's hand. Now he takes it off. He's going to hide it so that the ref can't see it. Will probably hand it back to Bass the first opportunity he gets. No, he's going to use it on Tojo Yamamoto. He isn't through yet. Hiding it from the referee. Slams him with the buckle end of it. He has it wrapped around his right fist, and he's using it, the heavy metal buckle, to inflict very serious damage on Tojo. Now Sam Bass has picked up a chair, the ring announcer's chair, started in. I think he really just wanted to get the referee's attention so that Lawler could get by with a little more of his illegal activity. Tojo is in trouble, no question about it.
Who was the best announcer between Sterling Brewer and Harry Thornton?
Very similar. Very, very similar. I always thought that Harry was a little bit more emotional with his commentary, and personally I would say Harry.
Tojo Yamamoto, who is barely staying on his feet, with the unbelievable amount of punishment he's taken from Lawler and from Bass. Look at that. Now Sam Bass has it.
We showed some Harry Thornton video last week on Talking Memphis Wrestling.
Jerry Lawler, and Bass is continuing the battle against Tojo Yamamoto.
I think this is some of the best film I've seen of Sam Bass in a long time as well.
Arguing with the referee, keeping him busy.
Hey, Adam, is this a film that we got from Randy as well?
Long sports shirt with the tail hanging out so that you cannot tell the referee or anybody else whether he has the belt on or not.
No, this is just by judging from the quality. This looks like it was probably ripped from VHS. It was originally filmed, but this is not one of the ones. There's 3 that we got from Randy West. I think the only one we've ever shown on the air is the one that we just showed earlier. The other 2 we have, they don't have audio.
Of course, so that the referee can't see it if he searches Lawler, and that's what he's doing.
Is this the same referee that was in Louisville as this Ferguson?
No, I do not know who that is. I don't think that's right.
Object of any kind. He had it, but he sipped it over.
But it might be now that you say that.
I'm not positive.
Lawler is the champion still and retains his title over Tojo Yamamoto.
Couldn't say for sure.
We will talk about that match in just a minute, just the great career of Tojo Yamamoto. Tojo in the early 80s, 81 or 82, managed Masafuchi and Mr. Onita, who became 2 legendary Japanese wrestlers. They were sent to the United States, and Japan sent a lot of the guys to Gulas, Welch, Jarrett, and a lot of times they put them with Tojo. This is a 6-man tag. This is 4 minutes in length, and this is an interesting match with Tojo Yamamoto, Masafuchi, and Mr. Onita against Troy Graham, the Dream Machine, Dirty Dutch Mantell, and Superstar Bill Dundee. 4 minutes worth of video, our last video of the show today on Talking Memphis Wrestling on December the 2nd as we watch
Billy all the way back over by the ropes. Oh, he nailed Tojo, and Tojo goes down. Fuchi pulls Dundee back to their corner. Fuchi goes for the abdominal grab, and Billy gets the right shoulder up just in time.
Lance calling it an abdominal grab, as we all knew it as the Japanese claw.
Right.
By Dundee. Here comes Dutch. He's pounding on Onita. They're up under the ring. Fuchi in the ring with Dundee. Whipping on Tojo. Dundee in the ring with Fuchi. Dutch under the ring with Onita. Tojo and the Dream swapping licks over here. No count, or at least not a 3 count. Referee Jerry Calhoun with an impossible situation. 3 individual fights going on. From behind, Onita nails Dundee.
Used to love when Tojo would have Japanese wrestlers in the dressing room, and like you said, there was a pipeline from Japan and really from the Hawaiian Islands, Samoa, Peter Maivia, to Nick. but I would love it when Tojo would talk Japanese to these boys, and when they were in the ring, he would be telling them what to do in Japanese, and he wouldn't have to mask it because people just heard him talking Japanese. They had no idea what he was saying.
Wild Brawl at the Mid-South Coliseum in Memphis, Tennessee. 82, 81 as well. Great years for Memphis Wrestling, Michael.
Well, we've shown this is the heart and soul of Memphis Wrestling, these brawls.
Absolutely. We've seen a couple today without a doubt.
Onita, Masafuchi, and Tojo, the winners by disqualification in a crazy, wild brawl that ultimately ended up in 3 separate battles before Dutch made the mistake of laying hands on the referee. Dutch is split open. Onita is split open. 22:10 was the official time. So a disqualification raises the hand, makes it possible to raise the hand of Yamamoto, Onita, and Fuchi. Boy, what a battle, and Dutch still hot. He's ready to go get him. Dundee says, watch it, watch it. Dutch now watching it. He's going after him.
All right. That's a great video from Tojo Yamamoto. Adam, I want you to pop in. We'll, in a minute, get the discussion from Michael of that video and also his last take of the show. What'd you think? Summarize the show, as you added a lot to it, Adam, as I appreciate you being on the air. I appreciate you finding that graphic and also that video. Me and Michael and you together, I had a ball. What were your thoughts on this show today, as it's the first show of December?
First show of December. Certainly enjoyed being here. Certainly enjoyed being on the show. Always a pleasure to see Michael. Glad he's back with us. Yeah, for me, a lot of people know that I am a fan specifically of Memphis Wrestling, but I'm also very much a fan of WMC TV. It's what sparked my interest in television. All the way back, I've told the story of being a 12-year-old kid going to wrestling for the first time, the floor director letting me come back and run camera, and that led to me working at Channel 3 in Memphis, and then later working at Channel 13 in Memphis. And still to this day, I still do some radio work, doing some traffic stuff, and then also doing this show. And all of that was shaped by WMC TV 1960 Union Avenue. So I love that station. I love the history of that station, and I love the fact that that station let us have live studio wrestling, I think, longer than any other station in the nation. So I will always have a special place in my heart for it, just as I do Memphis Wrestling. And so I just appreciate you letting me be a part of it. And of course, I'm sure it always shows. Whenever we talk about Channel 5, I'm always very passionate about it.
Absolutely. And Randy West enjoyed the show tonight. Man, it's been a couple of weeks since Michael St. John has been on this show. Our new theory is I'm trimming down on the thing and I edit it off. I just want this to be the best Memphis Wrestling themed show out there, and sometimes I think you can wear out your welcome, Michael. As a programmer, I'm sure you've had fights with yourself and with your employees. Sometimes you throw so much at the audience they don't remember. I'm very proud of this show. I'm glad you're back on the air. This show, in my estimation, we had everything from a history of TV5 to great conversation and video of Tojo Yamamoto, to have all that great stuff and have Michael St. John back on the air. Last take, Michael St. John, in summary of today's edition of Talking Memphis Wrestling.
Well, first of all, it's an honor to be with you, Randy, and I appreciate you including me in this. And when we get Adam involved in the historical perspective that he gives us, and Adam, I can't agree with you more. There's a Channel 5, most assuredly, and WMC radio as well, have a very close place in my heart. I had a lot of friends go through there, and having the opportunity to work there with the folks at Channel 5, but more so, of course, with Lance Russell and Dave Brown, will always be a high point of my career, without a doubt. But I really appreciate the what you're doing with the show, Randy, and it's tough to do sometimes, and you have to, if you would, you have to herd the monkeys, I call it. You have to. It's like herding cats. Sometimes you just have to get it all together and get it back to the focus of what it needs to be. And it's funny that you're mentioning doing this with this radio or with this podcast. I've been doing the same thing for the past 6 months with Fun Radio. Fun Radio has been around now for 28 years. Same format, but we've grown in the musical years as the years have gone by. But in broadcast radio and television right now, it's become a very slippery slope in doing what you can make money on and doing what is right to incorporate the audience and do what you're supposed to do as far as being the public servant that you're supposed to be. So we've had to refocus what we do, and sometimes you just have to do that. But I miss Pat Trammell. Pat gives a whole different perspective. You, of course, were so ingrained and still are into this business. And I know they gave Lane Kiffin $90 million to coach LSU. They probably, if Tony was smart, he would give about half of that money to Randy Hales to book for him. And I think maybe you might, for that kind of money, might decide to do that. But it's still in your blood, Randy, and you're still the best at it.
Well, I appreciate it. This is enjoyable. What was your highlight of the show today? I think mine was that archive video and history of Channel 5. I loved everything, but that was special.
Absolutely, Randy. I think that, and it was so unique because we normally don't do that kind of thing on this show. So it made it even more special. I 100% agree with you.
All right, folks, we are about 25 minutes ahead of schedule, but that's great. We had a wonderful show. Thanks to Adam. Thanks to everybody. Miss the rest of the panel, and hopefully Pat will be back next week. For Adam Dunn, Michael St. John, this is Randy Hills. I turn Michael. Here's the scoop. A week, I believe. Let's see. This is the 2nd, right? So
Correct.
Next Tuesday is the 9th.
Correct.
On December the 10th, Michael, I turn 64 years young. On December 10th. Happy birthday to me. How about that?
Hey, we'll have to do a special tribute birthday show next Tuesday in your honor. We got to cook something up for that. Adam, we got to put something on the grill for that one.
Close us out of here. Get us out of here, Michael.
Oh, for Adam Ward, who is our executive producer and puts this whole thing together, for the man behind everything that Memphis Wrestling and Talking Memphis Wrestling is, the incredible Randy Hales. I'm Michael St. John. So long, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
And paid by parties other than this station, namely the promoters of USWA Championship Wrestling.